Welcome to the last assignment of the unit for our week 6 assignment, what we did last week, our memory recollection. So if you recall, we started with the reading Absolutely True Diary of a Part-Time Indian, the title that I can't say fast, the chapter Dance, Dance, Dance by Sherman Alexie, and that's what we're basing our writing on. That's what we're trying to emulate, that kind of feeling of being immersed in someone else's life or in a moment in someone else's life is what we'd like to create for our reader. We would like to bring them into our past memory. We'd like to offer some commentary on what our past memory is from our present day point of view. So, if you'll remember, Miss Thayer was kind enough to share with us a memory. Yours doesn't have to be quite this harsh. It can be a happy memory. I would love to read something happy, something funny, but Miss Thayer was kind enough to share this with us of when a boy was extremely rude to her in the 5th grade, and she showed us her process in writing. So first, you remember that we did a free write where I just asked you to write for 5 minutes, not concerning yourself with, oh no, there's no plot or there's no point to what I'm saying. It was just a free write of a memory that stands out to you in your life. So this is her free write. Second, our second round of writing, we were adding more details. So we were adding exposition, setting the scene, and that can be seen in red. So she added sensory details in the second round, like the sharp squeaking of tennis shoes, the smell of popcorn. Those kinds of details help like pull your reader into the story. She added imagery, like her twirling around the gym, hoping to see her skirt flare up in the perfect circle. So it's something you can see, you can smell the popcorn, you can hear the shoes, you can feel, like everyone knows what a hot stuffy gym feels like, and she calls everyone's memory to the hot gym. Everyone's seen lightly buzzing fluorescent lights, as horrible as those are. So she is calling our attention to details that we've all experienced so that hopefully it can make this a more dynamic scene. That's what you'd like to do in your second round after your free write. So you can see her free write is still there. She hasn't deleted anything. It's still there in black, but she's added more details that set the scene in red. And the main challenge that we're going to ask you to complete this assignment is adding dialogue. So Sherman Alexie's memory of him at the dance and the after party of the dance was very dialogue heavy. So they showed us that his friend was kind, that he was nervous, that he was self-conscious, through dialogue, not necessarily telling us Sherman Alexie or Junior was self-conscious. They showed us in, hey man, I forgot my wallet, and they showed how nice his friend was by he paid for the meal, right? So Miss Thayer, again, she kept her free write, she kept all of her details, she just added dialogue. And I want to draw your attention to this piece right here. So this is just her thinking to herself, but it still counts as dialogue because, as some of you pointed out when we looked at this in class, it's part of an internal monologue. If you'd like to include internal monologue in your memory and that's how you see your present self interacting with your past self, that's great. We'd love to read that as well. So I'm going to take us back to our modules and to the assignment. I'm going to go to week 6. I'm going to go down to memory recollection, and I'm going to ask that your memory have these components. Just like with the flash fiction, I understand that not everybody's a creative writer, not everybody loves English as much as I do. I know you make fun of me because I love English so much. I promise I think about other things. You just don't see those other things, but I promise I do have a life outside of this. I heard that last week, just wanted to clear that up. So, you have to have a theme incorporated in your memory. You have to have those elements of Freytag's pyramid that we've talked about. So your sequence of events has to clearly build on one another. It can't be just like a diary entry or a narration. It has to be a mini story. That memory itself has to have an exposition where you set up the scene. You introduce yourself as a character. You introduce whoever's around you. Your like family, your friends as characters. You set up the scene. Where are you? Are you at school, at a park, at practice, at home? You have to have a narrative technique. So you have to include dialogue, description, and reflection. You know, part of the challenge is getting those two versions of yourself to interact. And we're practicing again our precision of language. So you're using those precise, carefully chosen words to tell us your details, to convey sensory details, to paint a vivid picture of these experiences, these events, and of these characters that you're describing to us. So as long as you have these 4 criteria, you should be fine. And I do want this to be an enjoyable assignment. So the aim was to practice all of these elements of story and try to put a little bit of ourselves in it, because sometimes English can feel like kind of a removed subject when that's the opposite of what I would like. I don't want you to feel removed from the subject, so we're bringing a little piece of ourselves into our subject. All right? And I'm really curious to see what you come up with, and I can't wait to read it.